Okay, we are live again, and we are live in three places today, which is pretty cool. So, my name is Gabriel, and hello to everybody. And I am with ODE, Online Digital Education. It is a group on Facebook that collaborates with each other, that shares with each other, experiences, successes, so that everybody can succeed. And I work, primarily in the education space, trying to help teachers, succeed in their lives, and especially get past this COVID-19 pandemic era that's causing a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, doubts, fears, sadness, a sense of hopelessness. So today is Tuesday, May 5th, and I'm sorry, today is Wednesday, May 5th, and this is episode 124, titled, Teachers Have Unhealthy or Healthy Negative Emotions. And believe me when I tell you that, emotions can be both healthy or unhealthy, and depending on the person, of course, and our perspective. So let's get right to it. Let me give you my full disclaimer. This is not a get-rich-quick program, okay? There's no false promises here. There's no false guarantees. So if you're in a hurry to get scammed, you got to get out of here. This is not for you. I only work with high-value, integrity educators. And this online business model is organic, and it requires your commitment to start and grow your audience over, 90 to 120 days every day for any shot at succeeding. So results vary due to how much work you actually model, from this proven system. And if you're looking to start and then quit in the next few weeks or months just because it takes work, then you're better off doing, the same stuff that you're doing, and this is definitely not for you. And that's okay. Everybody, will eventually come to some kind of epiphany that says, I'm ready to commit to my life and to change my BS, my belief system. So let me give you a fascinating quote that I think that is very befitting of this particular live. This is a quote by Ayn Rand, and she was a Russian-American writer and philosopher. And she said, a rational man is guided by his thinking, by a process of reasoning, not by his feelings and desires. And that's what we're going to talk about today. These people's feelings and desires and how they can be, misconstrued, thought of incorrectly, felt, in a negative way, or in a better said, in an unhealthy way. So as I continue to read the Human Mind eBook, I find it amazing how, as an empowerment thinking life coach, I too fall into patterns of irrationality, which I need to check frequently. And this just happened to me again yesterday. And I'm glad that I stopped. I evaluated my thought. I found a different perspective that changed the way I felt. Therefore, the consequences or my behavior post that feeling was something that was actually totally positive, and I was able to move on with this person that I thought I was going to, feel negative about. And everything worked out at the end. So remember, it is not our fault that we have negative thoughts. The proof is in the air. Over time, we live with a constant bombardment of crap. Every day, we're being bombarded with a lot of crap. Seriously, folks, we have to fight through layers of crap between what we learned as kids, as teens, as adults. We are programmed to listen, to less favorable spectrum of lies, bad news, other people's hurt feelings, etc. So we basically become numb to the reality that life is better than the one that we are actually living. And it's common to hear people talk about negative and positive emotions. We do that all the time. What most people are referring to is the fact that some emotions, such as happiness and excitement, are pleasant, and others, like anger and sadness, are unpleasant. The problem arises when different emotions are labeled good or bad. While happiness may feel good and sadness may feel bad, no emotions are entirely good or bad. If a person feels angry at themselves when they realize they did not take an opportunity that they had been offered, is this bad? It's a good question to ask yourself. It's an empowering question. You see, negative emotions may be unpleasant, but they are not bad, and labeling them that way will cause us to do about three things. One, it'll cause us to avoid situations that would elicit them. Two, it will repress them when they do occur. And then three, judge ourselves or others for experiencing them. So because emotions are not good or bad, it is more helpful to look at emotions as either healthy or unhealthy. An unhealthy negative emotion is one that leads to unconstructive or harmful behavior or actions. A healthy negative emotion is one that leads to constructive behavior or actions. The truth about negative emotions is that each one of them has a healthy version and an unhealthy version. For example, anxiety is unhealthy, but concern is healthy. So I'm going to give you a side-by-side clear view to help you out and understand the healthy and unhealthy negative emotions that people experience. Let's start off with anxiety versus concern. Anxiety is a negative experience, and it is unhealthy because it leads to unconstructive behaviors, such as withdrawing from the threat or avoiding the threat, or seeking reassurance even though there is no way to get it, seeking safety from the threat. So when we compare anxiety to a concern, concern, on the other hand, is a negative experience, yet it is healthy. Concern leads to constructive behaviors, such as seeking to understand the threat, confronting the threat, and seeking reassurance when it is possible. Usually, reassuring themselves that the concern is only in their imagination, it's only in your mind, and the likelihood of a truly negative outcome is very small. Now let's look at depression and sadness. When we compare the two, depression is a negative emotion that is unhealthy because it leads to prolonged, withdrawal from enjoyable activities, and it disrupts a person's ability to function in everyday life. Sadness, on the other hand, may feel negative, but it is healthy because it leads a person to engage with enjoyable activities after a brief period of mourning, a brief period of loss, or even unhappiness. And this is a very good thing to go through and experience because it allows you to be, cognizant of, those things that you can enjoy even though you're sad. Let's talk about guilt versus remorse. A lot of people, have guilt trips. Guilt is a negative emotion that is unhealthy because it leads to self-judgment, self-labeling as I'm bad, and often self-punishment. Mea culpa, mea culpa. We kick our own asses. Due to feeling sorry for harm one inflicted, or one may beg for forgiveness, please forgive me. Remorse, on the other hand, may still feel negative, but it is healthy because it leads to acknowledgement of mistakes and taking responsibility for your actions. Due to true empathy, for the pain experienced by the other party, one may apologize and ask, but not beg for forgiveness. Now let's look at hurt and sorrow. Hurt is a negative emotion that is unhealthy because it leads to sulking, it leads to withdrawal, you step back, you become isolated. Sorrow, on the other hand, is a negative emotion that is healthy because it leads to assertion, it leads to communicating with others, it leads to being able to talk about what one feels. And that's a great thing. When you can continue to communicate during a sorrowful period, you are actually empowering that healing process. Now, this is a big one that a lot of people experience nowadays, and I empathize with this because it's something that people can learn to understand so that they can change their BS, their belief system. Shame versus disappointment. Shame is a negative emotion that is unhealthy because it leads to withdrawal from others, from people, from family, from co-workers, friends, from life, your own life. Avoiding eye contact, self-judgment, and self-punishment. Again, mea culpa, mea culpa. Don't beat yourself up. Now, on the other hand, disappointment is a negative emotion that is healthy because it leads to keeping that connection with others, maintaining that eye contact and acknowledging mistakes and taking responsibility for those actions. I'm disappointed in myself for not doing something in particular. And, I take responsibility for that. And I will make good on it. You acknowledge those mistakes. And what is a mistake? A mistake is a learning curve. It's an opportunity to learn from an experience and then make it that much better moving forward. Now, this pandemic period, since 2020, we're already almost a year and a half into it. It's probably going to go another year, okay? And that's not trying to cause you more stress. Believe me, I'm in Ecuador, and, the pandemic here is a lot worse than it is in other areas of the world, like the US. But a lot of people are feeling anger. And there is a difference between unhealthy anger versus healthy anger. Yeah, believe it or not, there are two versions of anger. Unhealthy anger leads to aggression, both direct aggression and indirect or passive aggression. Healthy anger leads to assertion, an expression of concerns. And then we have, and this happens a lot to men and women alike. I don't know what the stats are. I haven't looked them up. But this happens so much, it is totally unhealthy. Jealousy. Unhealthy jealousy versus healthy jealousy. Unhealthy jealousy leads to suspicion and prolonged questioning, to the other person, checking in on them and attempting at restricting them. And at the same time, causing yourself that heart palpitation, it's like, I'm feeling crappy, I'm jealous, I'm anxious. You have secondary feelings, tertiary feelings that you compound your own stress with because of jealousy. That's not good for you. That's not healthy. But the healthy side of jealousy leads to reasonable, brief questioning of the other party. The key word here is reasonable and does not involve checking or restricting the other person. Therefore, it allows you to feel calmer about the situation so that you could have a clearer perspective as to what's really going on. And here's another one that happens a lot because people do this naturally, it seems, and it's not necessary. Unhealthy envy versus healthy envy. Unhealthy envy leads to attempts to sabotage the other person's enjoyment of the desired possession or unhealthy feelings of anger or resentment towards the other people. Oh, I hate that they have that and I don't. That's not their fault. It's your brain's fault for thinking that way. Healthy envy leads to striving to attain the desired possession for oneself, assuming it is truly desired without an unhealthy feeling towards the other party. So these are, the top healthy and unhealthy emotions that people experience on a daily basis. And I got to tell you, as I continue to read this amazing book that was provided to me from a mindset course that I took, called the Human Mind eBook, I want to be able to share with you these things because it's important to understand how you feel. And it's important to be able to identify if it's an unhealthy or healthy feeling that you're having so that you can be productive moving forward instead of getting stuck in that negative vibe. You get to understand that your thoughts are at fault. Because they're at fault, you can change the meaning of that thought in a positive perspective, which in turn will change how you feel, make it a healthy feeling, and therefore the actions beyond that, your behavior beyond that, will be more productive instead of destructive. So this is a good opportunity, to want to understand your thoughts, want to understand your feelings. My greater purpose is helping everyday people realize that they are magnificent with empowerment thinking for success. And I started my learning curve with a growth mindset last year during Zombie Pandemic 1.0. And this was on August of 2020. The knowledge and tools that you will need to achieve your success, they await you too. And believe you, when you're ready to commit to healing and understanding your thoughts, you're just going to become that much better in your personal life. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? Empowerment thinking will help you realize your success in personal health, personal wealth, and make you wiser as you start to live a magnificent life of abundance. And yes, abundance will occur. You can manifest that, and you can start to really just enrich your life, in a way that you always desire and dream of. So remember, you're magnificent. I truly believe that you're magnificent. You should believe that you're magnificent. Let me know and leave comments. I'd be more than happy to respond to your comments. I respond to comments every day. Or you can come right here. Look, Online Digital Education. It is a group on Facebook that collaborates and shares experiences with each other so that everybody can succeed. There's no competition here. Unlike a lot of other communities, there's a lot of negative talk, bad vibes, all this stuff. Nobody's focusing on solutions. A lot of people focus on the problem. The correct way to go about this is to focus on solutions. So allow me to help you. I am providing, free strategy sessions that you can communicate with me and say, look, I'd like to talk with you for about 30 minutes, which I'll give you that time. And I will provide you free strategy sessions to help you start to understand why you feel the way you feel and how to remove those unhealthy thoughts and replace them with healthy, positive thoughts so that you can empower your life and become successful the way you desire. I look forward to seeing your success and interviewing you live on my community on Facebook. 688,000 people is my personal goal. I'm going to reach that goal. Come join me and see why. So this is Gabriel, and I'm signing out with ODE, Online Digital Education. It is a group on Facebook that collaborates and shares experiences with each other for everybody's success. Today is Wednesday, and it is May 5th, episode 124. Teachers have unhealthy or healthy negative emotions. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I look forward to talking to you guys. You have a great day, and God bless.